China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, is considered one of the largest infrastructure projects in history. When it was launched, it was presented as a new era of development, trade, and prosperity. Dozens of countries across Asia, Africa, and Europe were promised that new highways, ports, railways, and power projects would transform their economies. However, as time passed, another side of the project began to emerge. China's industrial capacity had grown enormously. Every year, millions of engineers and workers entered the job market, making it increasingly difficult to provide employment for everyone within China. As a result, China introduced the Belt and Road Initiative as a way to use its excess industrial capacity overseas. Under the BRI, developing countries were offered billions of dollars in loans, but with one important condition: most construction work had to be carried out by Chinese companies. This meant China benefited financially, while also creating jobs for its own workforce. The biggest criticism of the initiative has been the accusation of debt trap diplomacy. Critics argue that China provides loans that financially weaker countries struggle to repay, allowing China to gain control over strategic assets or infrastructure when debts cannot be paid. The most well-known example is Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka was promised that building a deep-water port near the Indian Ocean would turn the country into a major international trade hub, similar to Dubai. This project became known as Hambantota Port. China financed the project with billions of dollars in loans, while Chinese companies handled most of the construction. Although the port was completed, shipping traffic remained far below expectations. Only a small number of ships used the port each year, generating insufficient revenue to repay the loans. As a result, in 2017, Sri Lanka leased Hambantota Port to a Chinese company for 99 years. Today, China controls much of the port, making it one of the most frequently cited examples in debates over the Belt and Road Initiative. A similar situation occurred in Zambia. The government launched several development projects financed by Chinese loans. However, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the country's economy weakened significantly, while copper prices declined. Zambia struggled to repay its debts, and by 2020, China held a large share of the country's external debt. This sparked a global debate. Were these genuine development projects, or had they become a new form of economic dependence? Several BRI projects have also been criticized as white elephant projects, expensive developments that look impressive but provide little practical benefit. For example, Montenegro borrowed around $1 billion from China to build a highway through its mountainous terrain. Construction began, but funding ran out before the project was completed. Today, parts of the highway remain unfinished, while the debt continues to place heavy pressure on the country's economy. Sri Lanka also built an international airport near Hambantota in hopes of boosting regional development. However, very few passengers or airlines use the airport. It is now often described as one of the world's emptiest airports, with reports of wildlife occasionally wandering across its runway. In Ecuador, China helped finance a large hydroelectric dam intended to solve the country's energy shortages. Later inspections revealed thousands of structural cracks, raising concerns among experts that serious engineering problems could create major environmental and humanitarian risks if not addressed. Next comes Pakistan. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, was promoted as a game-changer for Pakistan's economy. It was expected to reduce power shortages, create jobs, and accelerate economic growth. While several projects were successfully completed, many others faced delays. Residents of Gwadar protested over shortages of clean water, electricity, and employment opportunities. One of the biggest controversies has been that a significant share of Gwadar Port's revenue reportedly goes to Chinese companies, while Pakistan receives a much smaller portion. The Belt and Road Initiative also faced a major setback when Italy announced its withdrawal from the project. Italy was the only G7 nation to officially join the initiative, but later concluded that the expected economic benefits had not materialized. Similarly, countries including Malaysia, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Myanmar reviewed, delayed, or cancelled several BRI projects. As China's global influence continued to expand, the United States and European Union introduced alternative infrastructure programs, including the Global Gateway and the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment, PGII. These initiatives aim to provide developing countries with more transparent financing options and reduce dependence on Chinese investment. Meanwhile, China and Russia strengthened their economic partnership. Following the war in Ukraine, Russia increased cooperation with China, leading many analysts to view the Belt and Road Initiative not only as an economic strategy, but also as part of a broader geopolitical partnership. This has intensified competition in global politics. Despite facing significant criticism, the Belt and Road Initiative has also provided clear advantages for China. the country has expanded its influence over strategic ports and transportation networks worldwide, strengthening its export economy and international trade connections. If the entire network is completed, it could create one of the largest trade corridors in history, connecting Asia with Europe through roads, railways, ports, and logistics hubs. Today, China is promoting a new phase known as BRI 2.0, placing greater emphasis on digital infrastructure, green energy, and sustainable development projects. However, many countries remain cautious. Instead of accepting promises at face value, governments are increasingly examining whether these projects genuinely benefit their economies or primarily serve China's long-term strategic interests. The question remains, is the Belt and Road Initiative a path to global prosperity, or one of the most ambitious geopolitical strategies of the 21st century?